Congressman Mo Brooks of Alabama says he used his own belt as a tourniquet to stop the bleeding of congressional staffer Zach Barth. Joining me now is Dr. Alex Eastman. He is medical director and chief at the Reese Jones Trauma Center at Parkland. He's also a lieutenant with the Dallas Police Department SWAT team. We weren't there, but in your opinion, did Congressman Brooks do the right thing by using his belt as a tourniquet?
No question, Cynthia. We used to call people who were at the scene of an incident like this bystanders, but we know now that we need every member of the public to be an immediate responder, and we need them to act and intervene and help their fellow American who's injured. You
were telling me that a person can bleed to death in less than 5 minutes. If no tourniquet is available, what does a bystander do to stop the bleeding?
The first thing we need is pressure over that wound to try to stop that bleeding. So you may have a wound and you would do what your mom would do in that situation, which is to just take your hand and put some pressure and squeeze it. The next thing you do is take a dressing, some sort of, whatever you have. This is an Olay's modular bandage, and you bet. It's designed to put pressure on that wound. So you take this bandage and you wrap it as tight as you can around the wound. Now there's the possibility that this might not stop it.
Yeah, and you can't stop the bleeding.
You can't. At that point, we need to do one of two things. The first thing is, this is quick clot combat gauze, and it was designed for the U.S. military to be packed into a wound. It's got a special substance on it that helps your blood clot. So you would take this gauze and pack it deep inside that wound. So go ahead, Cynthia, pack it in there as hard as you can.
If the pressure doesn't stop the bleeding, then this is what you're doing. You're packing it. You're stuffing something in here. If you don't have gauze, what do you put in here?
Remember, it's best to have this equipment, but if you don't have it, then you pack a t-shirt or you pack any cloth, anything you can get in there to put pressure in that wound and stop the bleeding. And then sometimes that doesn't work either. And then what you need to do is move on to a tourniquet. This is a Special Operations Forces tourniquet, and it's made to simply slide on above the wound to pull it tight as you can with a strap, and then turn this windlass until the bleeding stops. Once you do that, the bleeding will stop, and these are great when you're under pressure like today. They're being shot at. They don't have time to fashion dressings and improvise. They need to put something on and get out of the way on the way to the trauma center. That's what a tourniquet's for.
And this is all part of that Stop of the Bleed campaign. Tell us very quickly why it's so important.
Yeah, Cynthia, the idea is that to take these types of techniques and equipment and make them the CPR of the 21st century. We want to help people survive bleeding, whether it's from an active shooter or whether your kids get injured on the playground.
Dr. Eastman, thank you for your time and your expertise today on how to respond in a crisis situation. For more information about the Stop the Bleed campaign, go to www.bleeding.org.
www.bleedingcontrol.org.
Thank you. John?